lot of people to thank tonight, so I will talk fast. I won't be as straight to the point as Willie. First, I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for giving me this opportunity. When Mead called me, I was like cleaning my garage or something, and he calls me and, hey, you're getting in. And I'm like, I'm jumping up and down, and then he says, how fast can you be in Miami? Can you be here in 4 days? And I'm like, yeah, with a 4-year-old and 2 puppies at home? Sure, no problem. And but I made the trip, and I came down. I played in the golf tournament. Best experience. I had a blast. I'll never miss the golf tournament. I will tell you, if you're a fan of Hurricane Athletics, you got to do the golf tournament, even if you don't play. I mean, I got to hang out with David and Kevin, got to meet Willie, and I'll never miss that event again. So thank you, Mead. Judy, so I get in on, I played in the golf tournament on Thursday. Friday, my wife and daughter fly in, and Saturday we went to the game, and Judy and Susan Ward were so welcoming. We had the best time, and now my daughter seems to think that every time we go to a sporting event, we should have a suite and chicken wings and whatever she wants, but that's my problem, not yours. But thank you again. I want to thank my parents. You know, my parents, I'm from a small town, Bonne Terre, Missouri, 3,000 people, one stoplight. My parents always got me everything I needed, not everything I wanted. I think Brett Romberg said that once. But, you know, they always, you know, as a decathlete, you got 10 events, 2 days, you got to travel a little bit, you need shoes, you need apparel, and they always got me everything I needed. But I do have to tell this quick story. So when I was getting ready to go off to college, you know, back in '96, that was pre-9/11, so my parents went to the gate with me to say goodbye, and my mom's there, my sister's there, they're crying. My dad just looks at me and says, hey, if this football and track thing don't work out, come home, go to work. I knew right then that football and track thing was gonna work because I wanted to see the world, which we accomplished it. Love my hometown though, but I wanna thank my wife, Deepika, my daughter, Marique. Deepika obviously wasn't around at this time. Marique obviously wasn't either, but they know on Saturday nothing's happening at our house because Dad's watching football. And it's always funny, towards the end of the season, I can hear the excitement. It's like, hey, this is the last game of the year. She's like, really? And then basketball season gets going, and that's 2 days out of the week. So, but she's been great, and I gotta say, like, I do have to tell a quick story because Deepika and Marique, they put up with a lot with me between work and traveling, and this is my get out of jail free card because I was really happy when I saw Willie because I didn't come with a suit and tie tonight. And about 2 weeks ago, I said to Deepika, I'm like, hey, you see my suits? And we had just gotten back from India from a wedding, and you know how Indian weddings are like multiple days long, and she said, yeah, I have a bag sitting by the back door. It's going to dry cleaning. And I was like, I threw that bag away. I wasn't worried about my suits. I was worried about the saris that were in there that I threw away. So she was not happy with me. So that's, I appreciate Deepika and Marique and their patience with me. So just kind of a funny story. For my high school era, I want to thank Matt Haug, who was my high school football and head track coach. Coach Haug, he was a great coach. He was he should have been a psychologist. I mean, he knew how to get into kids' heads. I had a really good junior season, and when I came back my senior year, I was struggling to do those same events at the same level, and he pulled me aside and he said, Aaron, you be you, and the rest will take care of itself, and he was right. I say he should be a psychologist, in my case, a psychiatrist at times, but he was a great coach. Vince Bingham was the person who got me into the decathlon. If it wasn't for Vince, I would have never probably been at the University of Miami. As I said, I had a really good junior season. He pulled me aside, or he called my house, and he said, Aaron, you're a decathlete, and you don't know it. Well, back in the 90s, everybody knew Dan and Dave and world's greatest athlete, and I just never saw myself as that person, and so I owe a lot to Vince for guiding me into the decathlon. So once I did get into the decathlon, my high school coach, Coach Bill Martin, he kind of took over, and he fell in love with the event just as I did, and he enjoyed seeing me progress. You know, one week I'm out there throwing the discus. I've never thrown it before. I'm throwing 90 feet, then 100 feet, then 120 feet. So he fell in love with the event just as I did. Coach Martin, he spent a lot of money out of his own pocket to travel. We went to Utah, we went to Houston. Coach, you did a lot for me, and I really appreciate it. He taught me a lot about life. He taught me to say thank you and appreciate things. And at the end of the day, the biggest compliment I can give him is he's a great teacher, math teacher. So I had all this support back home. I get here to Miami, and I got to thank Rodney Price and Butch Davis for brokering the deal for me to come here. I came in on a track scholarship and eventually converted to football. But I just want to thank Coach Price and Butch Davis. I found out what the business of sport was. I only had Coach Price for a year, and then he went off to the University of Oklahoma. He was a great coach. I really enjoyed him, but again, I only had him for about 9 months. And but I can't thank him for working that deal out with football. So we didn't know who our coach was going to be, and you know, we didn't know if Paul D was going to bring in somebody from the outside or what was going to happen. And we were all pushing for Coach Mike Ward. Coach Ward got hired, and let me tell you, folks, he was the epitome of an athlete's coach. You know, Coach Ward never came in with an agenda. You know, he was like part of the team, like part of the guys. I can remember in 1998, we had a rough football season in 97, so Butch decided to make spring football like 3 months long. And Coach Ward's like, we got to get you a decathlon before football season starts. I know he didn't have it in his budget, but he flew me out to Arizona. I got to compete against Dan O'Brien, and you know, that was the type of guy he was. And can't thank Coach Ward enough for everything he's done. We probably talk every week. Every June, Coach Ward comes out to Colorado, and he and his wife Susan, who's great, they always make time to meet me for lunch or dinner on their way in or way out of Colorado. So thank you again, Coach Ward, for everything you did for me. Assistant coaches, Coach Eric Campbell, Bill Falk, owe them a lot. Nothing's more humbling than when your coach comes out and kicks your butt in a workout, which Eric Campbell did many a times. Just want to thank Eric. He's not here tonight, but I want to thank Bill Falk. Bill Falk was my Bill Martin. He kind of oversaw my decathlon training. And Coach Falk's no longer with us, but he was a great coach, and I learned a lot. He also gave me my first job. So I worked for him for 14 years after college. So a big thank you to Coach Falk and the Falk family. Yeah, I know it was mentioned earlier, you know, for me doing 2 sports, I do want to thank 2 groups of people. You know, I never worried about upsetting Coach Ward, never worried about upsetting Butch Davis. There were 2 groups you never made mad: athletic trainers and strength coaches, because they can make your life miserable. And, you know, as a 2-sport athlete, you know, most guys' files are like this big. Mine was like this big because I was constantly hurt with something. And so a big thank you to Scott McGonigal, Kevin Blasky, Dave McCune, Bill Cowgill, Sean Hunt, and especially Keisha Harrell. Keisha made the world go round on the track team, and big thank you to them. My strength coaches, Dale Hewlett, Ed Webb, Tommy Moffitt, Andrew Swayze, and Rob Phillips. Man, those guys were good. And I was strong, and I was fast, thanks to those guys. To my training partners, Pedro Rodriguez and Russ Landy. You know, again, I mentioned Coach Ward was an athlete's coach. Back in 2000, Pedro was like 6'6", I mean, built. If you would have put he and I next to each other, you would have said he was a decathlete, not me. And he was a 400-meter hurdler. He went to Coach Ward and said, I want to do the decathlon his last year. And in 9 months, Pedro had never picked up a pole, he'd never thrown the discus, and he got 3rd in the Big East Championship. And he pushed me that year. And Pedro's not here tonight. He did everything he could. He was coming from Spain. But a big thank you to Pedro. I don't think I would have done as well as I did in 2000 had it not been for Pedro. And, you know, and a lot of my friends and family know this. Like, I'm very close to Pedro. I went to Spain for like 15 years straight. Like, we're like best buddies. And I thank him for pushing me in 2000. Then this guy, Russ Landy, comes along and says, I'm going to be a decathlete. And I'm like, wait, I went from Pedro to this guy? And Russ, man, that guy worked. And he taught me a lot. So big thank you to Russ. Russ is a big-time lawyer here in Miami. It was funny, when I called him to tell him about the Hall of Fame, he said, what is it now, Aaron? And I said, man, it's not a legal problem. I just wanted to invite you to the Hall of Fame. So big thank you to Russ, big thanks, Russ, for everything you've done. I'm almost done here. I want to thank my family. I want to thank my Aunt Rosemary, Charlie, Rodney for coming down. My sister Alicia, sorry you lost your bag on the way down here. My best friend from high school, Stacy Tiffenauer, and Sarah. Thanks for coming down. Stacy was a shot putter from the University of Arkansas. We went to high school together. Thank you for taking the time. Stacy Stevens, one of my basketball coaches, is here tonight. George and Maria Rodriguez Walling. Mr. Walling was my student teacher at Gulliver Prep. I thought I was going to be a teacher and a coach. And George was tough. He was tough on me. And Maria always made sure I had a good meal, but George always beat me up on my writing skills and my presentation skills and whatnot. Rob and Mary LaSorsa for making it from California tonight. Rob, really appreciate all the years of working with you, and I appreciate your friendship. Mike Kopek, my financial advisor, is here from Indiana. Thanks, Mike, for everything you've done. And Nick Gramsky, one of my roommates and teammates. Thanks for being here, Nick. I really, really appreciate it. And my family appreciates the fact that you and I played video games in college, and I hate video games now, so thank you. I want to finish up on this. When I was in college, like, Miami was doing this, right? And I wasn't, when I graduated, I had a really hard time. Like, I was lost. Like, this was my life. This was my family. And so what's it mean to be a Miami Hurricane? You know, so I equate everything to, like, financial advising, you know, retirement advising. You know, everybody tells you in your 20s do this, in your 30s do this, in your 40s do this, and then you retire. Well, when I was in college, everybody said, get that, you got to get a degree. Nobody can ever take that away. They were absolutely right. And people said, the memories you will have running through the smoke in front of 80,000 people at Florida State, or you know, wearing the U when everybody else is wearing Nike and representing the USA track and field. They were right. The network that the University of Miami had, they were right. But nobody ever really told me what happened once I was out of here, like what that was like. And so I did not come back to the university. I can't say I was the best fan for a long time. And so I had moved to Colorado. I had met my wife, Deepika. We got married, moved to Colorado. And I get a phone call, or I get a text one day. And the message read, hey, this is Casey Jones. Come meet me in Clement for some beers and watch the Canes. Casey Jones? Like, Casey Jones, the toughest football player I ever saw? That Casey Jones? Casey Jones, the senior when I was a freshman? That Casey Jones? How do you get my phone number? And so anyways, I went and met Casey and Ryan. I met Mark Cooper, Darren Crine, and I had a great time. And I pulled Casey aside at the end, and I said, hey, man, thanks so much for inviting me, but why would you invite me? And he said, man, you're a Cane. You're one of us. Not everybody's been through what we've been through. We're a tight-knit family. And that's when I became a fan, because I understood what it meant after college. So with this honor, thank you so much. Go Canes.
Thank you, sir.